And so I used to go after work. I get off at 3, and I go to Scottrade for workshops at like 4 or 5. And it's like all old white men with like little liver spots on their head and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm in this joint.
You the only
Smelling like big game.
I'm the youngest and the only person of color in there. You feel me? Like, I'm in there with
Really
dirty work
beating the
boots.
odds.
You know what I'm saying? I'm in work boots. I'm trying to learn this shit. They teaching it on
Getting
like,
out the mud for real.
out the mud, literally.
Yeah, literally.
And they teaching it on like overhead. Remember the overhead projectors? So, like, the little slides.
I know what you're talking about.
Promethean boards.
No.
See what you talking about?
He younger.
I know what you're talking about. You talking about the one that will that little caught out.
You got the little translucent papers.
Put the marker.
Right
I know
on
what you're
that
talking
joint,
about.
bro. I'm talking about, look, I'll never forget it, man. The first thing I learned, it was a technical analysis workshop, and they talked about the golden cross, where the 50 moving average moves above the 200 moving average, right? And it gives you what's called the golden cross, is a bullish signal. And that's when everything opened up for me. I'm like, you mean to tell me that by looking at these moving averages, I can predict whether the stock is likely to go up or down, right? Before that, it was all just a guessing game to me, right? I think it's going to go up, so I'm going to get it. And so once they open up with technical analysis, I was like, nah, man, if I study this shit, I can really actually, make money at will.
Right.
And so I started practicing that. And then the moment I made more money, like I told you, from the porta potty on the job site, trading on my phone.
On the porta potty,
On the
working,
porta
getting
potty,
money
bro,
worth of salary.
lunch. I take my whole lunch break, man. I'm like, I'm in that job. I come home, I'm be in the car, and then I'm still trading. So I don't want to go back to work. So I go straight to the porta potty, give me some extra time, like at least an extra 30 minutes before I gotta go back on the job site. So I'm in there literally and I made like literally, I was like $700, which was about 2 weeks worth of my paycheck. And I was like, man, I'm done. I walked off the job site like 2 days later, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna go full time.
Gonna figure this out.
Yeah,
So
man.
I love it, bro.
What year was that?
that was in 2013.
Yeah.
2013, yeah.
Man.
Quinn, man, you just touched on something really, really important when it comes to the stock market. And you talked about how, like, whenever you first started, it was gambling. I feel like that's how a lot of people start, right?
Yep.
Like, I know for me, my first interaction with the stock market was when I was in college. You gonna laugh at me?
Because I know what you're about to say.
I really did not know what I was doing. Like, I seen a Robin Hood ad. I was like, okay, I want to get into this stock stuff. It seemed like something I need to do in my life.
Right.
So I thought I was buying shares of Snapchat, and I bought an option. Didn't know what I was doing. So like, I bought it, and I bought a weekly at that.
That's only for like 4 cents. My man was like, I got that.
Bro, I thought I was lit.
Picked up
I think it was
$1,000
like
of them
$7.
things.
Like the shares were $7 at the time, so I bought it, and then it expired at 0, and I was like,
Oh,
"Well, I'm like, this is a scam, bro.
It's a scam.
This is a scam." So like, I'm glad that you talked about like this part of technical analysis, because so many of us, we get introduced to the stock market and then we don't really understand anything about it.
Right.
We just go in there gambling, not even understanding what we're doing. So I kind of want to ask you, like, with technical analysis, can you kind of break down exactly what technical analysis is for the people?
Yeah, so technical analysis, essentially, there's 2 types of analysis, right? One is fundamental analysis. That tells you what company is a good company to buy. Is this company have strong revenue growth? Do they have low debt? Do they have a lot of debt? What is their management team like? That's fundamental analysis. Those are fundamentals. You're looking at the assets, the liabilities, the balance sheet, the cash flow statement. Technical analysis, on the other hand, doesn't give a damn about any of that. Technical analysis is knowing when to buy a company, because you can buy the right company at the wrong time and still lose money, right?
Yeah.
I like
just
that.
like
So-
Snapchat.
So you said like fundamental analysis is knowing what to buy.
Yep.
Technical analysis is knowing when to buy.
Exactly. And so with technicals, all we're doing is we're looking at chart patterns. We're looking at history. We're looking at particular key levels, because charts don't just move at random. A lot of people think that stocks move up and down randomly. The market is a place of psychology, right? When you have more people that think that a stock should go up than people who think it should go down, the stock will go up because more people will buy it at that price. And when you have more buyers and sellers, the stock price goes up. And so all the chart is a representation of the psychology of the market at any given moment in time, right? And so technical analysis is just us being able to interpret that psychological data from the chart to know when is the psychology, when is the emotion of the market starting to change from people thinking it's going to be good to people thinking it's going to be bad, and how do I get in and out of that to make money? You see what I'm saying?
I follow. I'm picking up what you're putting down. So Now I gotta ask,
like
right?
That, man, that's a New Orleans talk, man.
I know.
I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah, you heard me. I love it. I love it.
I couldn't stop saying baby. I was like, dang. I like New Orleans, man.
I love it though, bro. Yeah. So I kind of want to get into fundamental analysis a bit more. I know you broke down both, right? Yeah. So fundamental analysis is what to buy. You talked about assets and liabilities, kind of balance sheets, what that net do, right?
Right.
So what are like the things that people need to understand to really do fundamental analysis?
So with fundamental analysis, it's simple things actually. So the easiest thing to start with is something I call top-down analysis, right? It's not something I call top-down analysis. It's what it's called, right? And top-down analysis is basically understanding where the overall sector is headed, right? So like I start with the sector. Right now we know clean energy is a thing. We know coal energy is likely going away, right? So shortly, it's a lot of pressure.
Legislation is starting to move in the direction of let's get rid of what's like. I think it's 5 states now that are coming up with legislation that's like we're gonna move to EVs by 2035.
Yeah. So now
incentivizing a lot of people for clean energy.
Exactly. So would I now go and look for a coal company to think that I'm gonna be well positioned over the next 10 years to buy that company? Probably not. So if I start with the top-down analysis, I say, okay, this sector is going to be hot for some time. Most likely, this sector has a lot of positivity coming to it. Okay, now let me go find the best company in that sector to add to my portfolio or to look at purchasing. And so then you start looking at, okay, what companies have strong revenue growth over a period of time, right? There's things like return on equity, right? How well does this company return capital back to its investors? Return on assets. How well does this company utilize its assets to make money? There's things like there's a lot of different fundamental factors, right? But
So
ultimately,
I kind of want to ask about return on equity. So it's like the share price and how much money they're generating per share. Is that return on equity?
Pretty much for the most part. And that's basically how a company is, like I said, returning capital towards its shareholders, right? And so now when you look at something like that, I'm looking for companies that have strong profit margins, they have healthy balance sheets, they don't have a lot of debt. Okay, this looks like it's a good company. Now let me look at the management team, which is a little bit less tangible. I'm going to listen to their earnings reports. Every quarter, companies put out earnings reports and they do conference calls. I will sit down and listen to the conference call. I want to hear the voice of the CEO. I want to hear what is his plans, what is his actions, how confident is he in his team. I'll tell you real quick, a quick story on that. Back in 2013, when I was trading heavy, right, I took my student refund checks, right, and my girl's student refund checks at the time, and took $2,000 from mine, $2,000 from her, put $4,000 in a company called Plug Power, right? Plug Power does hydrogen fuel cell batteries for, at the time, just industrial forklifts, which meant that the forklifts didn't need to be charged for 8 hours. They could just fill it up with gas and it's running, which is a huge benefit for a warehouse like Amazon, BMW, things like that. So at the time, they were about to go out of business because it was a very expensive model. It's new. It was very hard to make money. And so the stock price dropped to like 15 cents from 40 cents because they needed to raise money quickly. But I'd been listening to the conference calls and listening to the CEO, and I'm like, this guy has a plan for the next 10 years to be successful. And I believe that he can pull it off because he's very logical in how he does it. So on this conference call, he tells the shareholders and the team, said, listen, if y'all don't believe in the company, if Wall Street doesn't believe in our company, take my salary for the next 2 years and just pay me in stock options, right? And I said, man,
that's pretty.
That motherfucker knows something. You know what I'm saying? He believes in something. You know what I'm saying? And the model works is it has a nice moat. You can't just up and decide you're going to enter that space and compete. It's not like a hamburger company. You got to have technology, IP. You have all this stuff that prevents somebody like us to just pop all types of stuff. So I'm like, nah, this guy got something going. So I took that $4,000, I put it in 15 cents. I got like 36,300 some odd shares, right? At 15 cents. Now Plug Power, a few months later, went back to 40 cents. I sold it. That's how I got the money to start my first business, was a carpet cleaning company, right? Now, I thought I was doing my thing, right? I'm like, yo, I've quit my electrical job.
I'm rich.
Got my carpet cleaning thing. My girl proud of me, you know what I'm saying? Got my little equipment.
A little different.
You know what I'm saying? I told you. like, now I'm about to flip this one because I got like 10 G's from. So now I'm about to flip this 10 G's. I'm gonna create a carpet clean company. I'm gonna make 100,000. Woo woo. And I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm doing something. So a year later, right, Plug Power then goes to, her dad called me. He's like, baby boy, you a genius, boy, man. How you know? Plug Power, man, that thing's like $2, some change like that, right?
Ooh, boy, I know you was sick.
I said, what? I get my phone out, I'm looking at the joint, it's showing up, it's like $1.80. I'm like, oh my God, right? So now I'm sick. By the time I look, maybe a couple weeks later, the joint ran to $3. And then later on that year, $10, right? And I damn near lost it. You know what I'm saying?
But that was an amazing lesson.
It was a huge lesson about being patient and sticking to you when you believe in something, to stick with that joint and let your trade plan out, right? Now, mind you, Plug Power ran down to about $2-3 for the rest of the next 7 years, which was up until 2021, which was this past year. Plug Power ran all the way up from like $4 or $5 to $60-something, right? This is a company that you both of their head at the same time. Y'all gotta play that back. Yo, went from 50. Go back.
What you just told me? If you bought this at 15 cents, that's like 36,000 wealth. That's like actually that's pre-seed type wealth. Right? Whenever you buying stuff before it hits the public market.
Let me do the math real quick. He says 15 cents, right?
Yep. 36,360 something shares. I don't remember.
You still remember the number.
I remember the number though. 36,300 some shares. And I was devastated. And it's still now. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, that
would have been $2.1 million from $4,000.
Jesus Christ. I love that you're sharing the story, Quay, because that move, like people hear them numbers, that would have took a decade, right?
Most importantly, it would have took a decade, but it also took a lot of like, I didn't have an income that was sustainable to pay to anything else. I was living off of this money, right? So when you are starting from the bottom, you don't have the luxury of just putting money away and just wait. Right. I needed money today because I need to be paid. I got baby, I got diapers. My girl at the time was in college in Norfolk State. She's not making any money. I'm not living in my parents' house. I don't have any job skills, any real skills. I got a felony on my record.
I'm not gonna get many jobs.
Anything. You know what I'm saying? I can barely get an apartment on my own. I couldn't even get an apartment on my own. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like one of those things was like, I'm flipping this money. 10 G's to me was like 100,000 today. You know what I'm saying? Like 10 G's, I could do a lot with at that time. So I'm like, I need to do. So I took that and I'm like, okay, now I need to take this 10,000 and put it into something that I can make consistent passive income from or income from, which is why, okay, let me get carpet cleaning equipment. Now I got a way to make a living for myself. So it's a give or take. But for people out there who have the capacity to do these things, when you invest the time and effort into research and knowledge in this industry,
dividends is unlimited.
It's unlimited.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?